Hi everyone! If you've been here before, welcome back. If you've never seen this channel before in your life, welcome for the very first time. Today we are going to be building a bowling alley slash karaoke bar. Fun fact, I hate bowling and I don't really do karaoke. But I figured my Sims might, since, you know, normal people like doing that stuff. Also, I recently transformed one of the karaoke bars that came into City Living into a restaurant. So I figured I needed another one, and also karaoke and bowling are two things that kind of go together. I do end up adding a couple of things as well that probably wouldn't typically be in a bowling alley, like a little dance club upstairs near the karaoke area and a back patio area because we have that lovely, lovely lake in the back. I made sure I picked one of the bigger lots in Newcrest. I think this one is a 40 by 40 lot, or 30 by 40. It's one of those two because I realized the actual alleys for the bowling are pretty big and they need a lot of space, and I wanted to make sure I could add a bar and some little video game areas and some karaoke rooms, so I wanted a lot of space here. Also, I am going to apologize right now. I am getting over a cold, so I'm still a little bit sniffly and I might sound a little bit congested when I talk. My voice isn't quite gone, so that's good. I almost always lose my voice when I get sick. Ever since quite a few years ago when I worked while being sick for 2 months straight, anytime I get slightly congested or get a cold that affects my throat, my voice usually goes immediately. Also, you are going to be hearing the heat kicking on an awful lot. I am in the Midwest, and it is officially winter, and we are going to be having some really cold weather coming up due to a polar vortex. So that furnace is going to be kicking on an awful lot. You're going to be able to hear it in the background. Also, it is about 5 in the morning and the cats are playful and they make a lot of noise, so you might hear that in the background as well. So usually how I build is I try to do kind of a rough idea of the outside of the building first and then kind of fill the inside and build around that. I like doing a dual approach versus just building the outside or just starting the inside. I feel like it makes certain things a little bit easier. I wanted this build to use a lot of the objects from the bowling expansion pack, obviously. Guess it's not really an expansion pack, but I'm just gonna call it an expansion pack. I know they call stuff packs and all kinds of stuff. It's just easier for me to say expansion pack. I wanted to use a lot of blues, yellows, bright, vibrant, fun colors. I wanted it to just feel like a place where people could have parties and just have a lot of fun. I wanted to add in a little kitchen as well, so that when you do throw parties, you can actually have a cake made for birthday parties and whatnot. I love those little arrow lights. I wanted to do that to kind of point like, hey, this way, this is where you can bowl. And the karaoke area is definitely going to be upstairs. This little area I'm building right now is kind of a little video game area. I also added a little foosball table. Pretty sure it's called something else in the game, but we're just calling it a foosball table because that's what it is. I love that white retro couch with those little triangle cutout shapes and different colors on it, and I feel like they're so nice when you are doing colorful builds because you can pull in multiple colors with that object and have it all match. For the outside of the build, I did want it to look super modern, super new, and I wanted it to fit in with what I already kind of have built in Newcrest. I have the one breakfast restaurant from the Dine Out pack in here, and I also have a cafe that I built previously, and they're kind of across the street from this place, so I wanted it to look cohesive. I wanted it to look like it was built around the same time. I built a little kind of counter area at the entrance as a sort of check-in area. So you could check in for bowling and you can check in for the karaoke area. I thought it would just make it easier if we had something like that right at the front. And right here I'm working on a sort of dining area. I already put in a pretty large bar downstairs, which is going to lead down into the level of the bowling. I actually also did a split level build for this, which in The Sims 4 is such a pain. I feel like in The Sims 2 and 3, because I know in The Sims 2 they had that stage setup deal where you could do split leveling so much more easily. It's still possible in The Sims 4, but it's a little more difficult and it takes a little bit more finagling. And I know there have been some other like renovations I've tried to do where stuff is slightly split level or the way the rooms are, and it just freaks it out if you try to change the heights or anything. And you kind of have to cheat and build a room, kind of, and then build like a section of wall and then kind of place it in there. It doesn't really act as a room inside the game, but it's possible. They just make it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. Basically, the game's not smart enough to be able to handle it very well. I know with a lot of bowling alleys there is kind of that split level idea. And adding more seating areas with tables and whatnot. Here I'm trying to add a little garbage area outside. I did try to have an exit that led directly to those garbage cans so that it was more easily accessible to take care of that instead of having to walk all the way around the building to do it. But when I tried to do it later, it just didn't really work out, so I just left it as is. Honestly, it's just a little bit easier that way, unfortunately. I do really wish that we had dumpsters in The Sims 4 for community lots to make it look a little bit more realistic. And I did do kind of really basic bathrooms and built little pretend stalls. I did add in those talking toilets because first of all, I think they're kind of funny. Second of all, I think aesthetically they just match the build because of the blue and the kind of modern feel. I had a lot of fun doing that little sitting area that's outside of the restroom, a little waiting area with little trophies and all that fun stuff. I thought that ended up really cute with that star mirror with the lights there. I ended up adding some decorations for the check-in area, which included some trophies and that little CD looking thing that came with Get Famous, because I kind of view it as, hey, you can buy the CDs of yourself singing karaoke, or maybe a DVD, because I know some places do that where you can sing in front of a green screen and it looks kind of silly and fun. So I thought it made sense with this build. Here I'm kind of figuring out the upstairs area and the stairs that lead to that upstairs area. I think I had a little bit of trouble with this part and trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted the karaoke rooms to be individual karaoke rooms so that people could kind of privately do that, and I also wanted to have a bar upstairs next to the karaoke rooms because, let's be honest, most people, or I should say most Sims, would want a little bit of juice before they start singing like that. I also tried to do a little bit of a almost balcony area in front of the stairs, which ended up being a giant pain because the game just tries to do certain things that disagree with what I want to do, and then I always feel like I have to finagle to figure out how to get it to look the way I want it to, or at least a good compromise of how I want it to look. And for the upstairs bar, I used the same bar I used downstairs and the same counters. I also used the nectar wall shells behind that one instead of some of the bowling shoe stuff, because the bar downstairs is also like a place to rent your shoes and get some other stuff set up. We have more than one check-in area. I wanted to make sure that one of the karaoke rooms was a little bit bigger and a little bit more luxe. I'm using a lot of the same furniture I did downstairs and just kind of alternating the placement a little bit. For the smaller karaoke rooms, I literally just kind of copy and paste. I shouldn't say copy and paste, but that's kind of what I did. Made it look all alike. I used the cat standing lamp, which I can't remember if that's from Pets or if that's from the My First Pet Stuff pack, because I thought it was cute and the colors match. In the Sims 4 gallery, I actually named this like neon karaoke bar because that's a noise that cats make in Japanese. Or at least that's what it's called. It's like neon, N-Y-A-N. This build and a lot of other builds I've done are actually available on the Sims 4 gallery. under Lestatspoet. If you're not sure how to spell that, that's just literally the first part of the name of my channel. Not the Sims part, the Lestatspoet part. And adding in more seating areas upstairs and kind of still figuring out what I'm trying to do upstairs. So I know while I was building this, I actually asked someone who was sitting with me, I'm like, would it be weird if I put a seating area outside because they have that pretty lake back there? And I ended up adding a dance floor and a DJ booth later, which you don't see yet. So I figured, why not? We're just going to add some extra stuff that probably wouldn't actually be in this kind of a place. But I like making my lots multi-purpose. Want to make sure everyone can have a little bit of fun. And once again, part of my building process is usually finagling and moving stuff around, especially with roofs. I feel like I mess around with roofs a lot to kind of figure out exactly how I like it. I think I end up with using just like a lot of half roofs here, so it keeps that modern feel, and once again, just so it fits with some of the other buildings that's around in Newcrest. And I'm moving all these tables around and adjusting them when I end up just taking a lot of them out later. So much work gets undone when a better idea comes along, or at least what feels like a better idea at that time. Here I am throwing in that DJ booth and the original dance floor. What I ended up doing, which took a lot of adjusting and moving stuff around, I did a good chunk of this with that see-through dance floor because I thought it looked really cool to be able to see the downstairs area with the bowling through it. Once again, this is not realistic at all. I don't think this is something that would actually ever be built this way, but I liked how it looked. I thought the colors worked pretty well, and I just thought it was a cool idea, so that's what we stuck with. Of course, I do more actual room adjusting to be able to fit in as many of those dance floors in different sizes as possible. I liked the idea, and once we did it, I was like, yeah, I'm continuing this. This looks cool to me. I still do put in some more of the dining, seating area, and I start doing the outside, which there is a little bit of a disconnect with how the inside looks in this outside seating area, but I feel like that's going to happen with a lot of the outside items anyway. I tried to keep some of the same color theme and some similar ideas with furniture. Added another bar, added the outdoor couches, and I tried, like I said, to keep a similar color idea. I wanted it to still feel colorful and fun, but the nature of being outdoor furniture does mean it's gonna not exactly match the inside. Keep a lot of the same windows. I've noticed in a lot of builds, especially more modern builds, I'm obsessed with using as many windows as humanly possible. I just like the look of all that glass. I also add a couple of the really modern looking plant hanging deals from Get Together and some of the little glass awnings from that as well. At least I think they're from the same thing. I do add some more plants on that one section there, but that does get moved from me adjusting the roof and everything a cajillion times because that's just what I do. Got to adjust everything multiple times till I get an idea of what I actually like. More roof adjustments. I feel like roofs are really difficult in all the Sims games. And I feel like I'm never satisfied with the initial way I have it set up. I did try adding some smaller and different windows in certain areas where it's above a roof, and I did adjust a lot of the windows so that it looked like it made more sense with where the roof hit and all that fun stuff. Just a lot of outside roof detailing and figuring out if it looks cohesive and if it looks good to me. For almost all my community lots, I add some benches as a little waiting area outside. And here I just kind of changed the furniture I had set up for some of the outside area and went with more wood than the exact same furniture that I had inside. Partially because I felt like it matched the couches that I have set up there a little bit better. And adding a little bit more plant life, a couple of candles, just final touches on decorations for that outside area. Here I'm adding in a bunch of the lights I actually end up using versus the lights I use just to be able to see what's going on in my build. And the lights I end up using are a mixture between some of the ones that actually came with the bowling pack and the kind of stage lights that I think those are the ones that came with Get Famous. I don't think those are the unlocked ones that came with a career from an earlier game, or maybe even the base game. Pretty sure those are the Get Famous ones that are meant for filming, but I liked them around the bowling area. Adding yellow accent walls because yellow is a fun, pretty, happy color, and I think it plays off the blue pretty nicely. And that yellow is also present in the furniture that I am kind of obsessed with, that has that white with the triangle patterns in navy and yellow. And really most of the rest of this build is just adding in the wall colors. I use white brick because I'm obsessed with white brick, apparently. I seem to use it in a lot of builds I do. And it's funny how certain things like this you don't notice until you start recording it and watching back, and you start seeing the patterns that you tend to use aesthetically a lot in these builds. You start to see what you tend to gravitate towards aesthetically. But a lot of what I'm doing, like I said, is doing the walls and some of the finishing touches, throwing in the floors. I'm happy I got to use that really loud blue carpet. And normally it's one I wouldn't use, but I think it works really well with this build. I also tried to keep some of the blue in those bathrooms, like I said earlier, using some tiling. I added in towel dispensers, soap dispensers, things that would actually be in a public restroom, obviously toilet paper. I do try to keep some things realistic and some things are not. Choosing the traits, I think I chose Party Place, Teen Neighbors, and Sunny Aspect. I feel like those all fit this. I wanted the parties to be able to be fun. I wanted it to come more alive after dark. And I do think that a lot of teens still hang out at bowling alleys. I'm not a teenager, so I can't speak for y'all, but I know that at least around where I live, a lot of kids still go to bowling alleys. Now we're just going to be going through different snapshots of the build as a whole. Thank you for watching this video the whole way through. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you disliked it, hit that dislike button. If you have any comments, feelings, or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to be out. See y'all later. Enjoy the music.